You didn't know they were such a gossip because you were the main topic. They couldn't gossip to you about you. So they just pretty much shared the gossiping with everyone else you knew whenever your back was turned. Strange, isn't it? This whole talking about people thing, it's a big pastime among karmics. Personally, I think it's silly. You know, I had heard all about my own situation. There was all this online communities talking shit about me. And eventually I found the online hashtag system where they were saying all this silly stuff. It didn't offend me in the least. And it all seemed quite silly because everyone was projecting their own shadows onto some imaginary character that clearly wasn't me. It got me wondering why they would invest so much. In my situation, my estimate is they used 15 platforms, spent over $1.2 billion, and paid a lot of people to talk shit. It didn't have the slightest effect on me personally. So why did they do it? Because they needed a scapegoat. This is why they did it to you too. They need someone to project their shadows onto. It's a form of psychotherapy for people who refuse to look inward. Group projection. You know, back in the day when organized religion and that way of dogmatic thinking still ruled and was supported, we all had scapegoats that we could agree on. But with the breakdown of our social moral codes and a loss of belief in institutions, it seems the new scapegoats are earth angels. And so what's happened is karmics everywhere have banded together to target different earth angels and starseeds and use them as scapegoat projection targets in order to fulfill that same function. And so you had no idea they were such a gossip because you were the main topic. And to gossip in front of you would be a bit like taking the prostitute you slept with, cheating on your wife the night before, to church with you the next day. And that's kinky, but probably a little too kinky even for most of the karmics. This whole topic really brings up some deep insights into the difference between karmics and so-called starseeds or earth angels. You see, karmics really care what people think because their whole identity is a social construct. And it's a construct built on comparison. So at the core of their fictitious identity is a belief in a status hierarchy. And their existence depends on being better than others and having somewhere to climb to become even better still. This keeps them seeming to be alive within the matrix, with hope for a future that would be fulfilled by stepping on the backs of people like you and me. And this game, if you accept the terms, is one in which gossip can play a very compelling role. But from the inner perspective of someone of the light, someone of the new post-matrix society now emerging, the whole thing seems silly because your identity is not rooted in a linguistic construct based on comparison. Your identity is your essence, and you do your best to access it and act from it every day. So all these people talking about you behind their back, saying all these things, intended ostensibly, I guess, to hurt you and make you look bad, it just seems silly because you realize it's not you, it's nothing personal, they're just working out their psychological issues. And clearly, when you speak and shine your light, others will see that's true as well. You're not worried about what people think. You're not worried about anything but being yourself, keeping it real. And you have come to know that by doing so, you are following your calling and your dreams will be fulfilled in divine timing, in communion with your brothers who appreciate the real you and see no need for comparison or competition because they recognize that there's a oneness you share, which is the basis for all true relationship. And so you hang out with karmics, and they seem polite and nice. And sure, they may have a shadow, some dark side. But if you're like me, never in a million years did you assume that they literally had like a separate personality, that they bracketed completely to share with their wicked friends, making you the center of conversation. You probably don't even find yourself that interesting. But isn't it interesting how interesting they find you? You didn't know they were gossips because you were the main topic, which means you must be a pretty interesting son of a bitch, 80, 90% of the human race. But you see, they'll never let you know it. Because if they dropped their mask and showed it in their mind, they'd be confessing that they think you're better than them. Gossip's a form of what they call word magic. And for years, our reputation was everything, and it was determined by social consensus, all of which mapped to the opinions of a few authorities who everyone looked up to. Well, you don't have to go any farther than our last presidential debate to see that world has completely ended. The person who will probably become the next president, his main gift is actually demolishing pretenses and smashing frames. And while he's not perfect, I can think of no better wrecking ball to help us decimate what's left of this ridiculous linguistic matrix, where getting buy-in from idiots in order to establish our identity was the path to survival and success. You didn't know they were gossips because you were the main topic, but the truth is, you don't care anyway, because you were born for the new world, the world emerging, a world where your value comes from your essence extended outward, and your capacity to see and behold yourself within others, and through that co-create something beautiful, worth enjoying now for its own sake, giving and getting in return, trusting in the faith of higher principles that bind, letting others do what they do, but never letting them control how you see yourself or the contribution you came here to make. So let the karmics gossip, and let us shift topic to focus on what that new world just might look like when you step fully into your calling and join me in co-creating it.